We have a story out of Lansing, Michigan. You had a Denny's that you had three sisters went into, and they were sitting there eating their meal, and you had a biker gang decides to go inside of this particular Denny's that these sisters are eating at. I want you to hear what happened when this biker gang actually went into the Denny's, and this particular story is something right out of the 1950s. But let's go ahead and roll that clip.
It's about our dignity, our respect that was broken that night.
That night was last October when Jennifer McEwen and her two friends say they faced racial discrimination. They say it happened at the Denny's on West Saginaw Highway in Lansing. They came in for a late night meal, and a little while later, 4 people wearing Blue Angels biker vests were seated in their section. That's when they say problems began.
As soon as they seen us, they just started, well, one just started going in like, we don't like these type of people where we're from. We ignored it. So then he tells the waitress, serve these N-words some T-bone steaks.
The women eventually went to find a manager.
I said, since this party of 4 came in, they've been blurting out racial slurs. Could you either move them, or if it happens again, could you ask them to leave? He said, no, it's a freedom of speech.
Sasha Collins says she then returned to her table, and the manager followed her and told them if they didn't like what they were hearing, they could leave.
I said, so if we were to say something back to them, would that be freedom of speech? And he said, no, that would be you starting.
Eventually, the manager called the police.
I said, okay, call the police, and I'll call the police too. We didn't do anything.
And while McEwen dialed 911, one of the female bikers walked up and punched her. The women say not one Denny's employee ever did anything to intervene, and now they plan to take the restaurant chain to court over this incident that months later still affects them today.
We were just so hurt.
You know, a lot of people like to talk about the southern part of the United States and say, oh, the South is so racist. But let me tell you something. It is more racism, in my opinion, in the North than it is in the South. Trust me on that. I mean, it's a special breed of racism up there. Now, this is something out of the 1950s, literally. They're sitting inside of a restaurant. These white supremacist biker gang come in, sing all kind of racial slurs. You tell the manager about it. He says it's freedom of speech. You know, that's that little thing they say to people when they want to be racist. Then when they say, well, if I say something back, say, oh, you're being annoying. You're starting things with people, right? So you can be treated just ugly. You can't say anything, but if you don't like it, you can leave. I mean, just straight up, you know, all in cahoots. Racist white supremacists. Now, we've seen a lot of stories over the years coming out of Denny's. Incidents where black people are treated less than. And as black people, we need to look into that and realize there's a culture in Denny's. It's not individual locations, because if it was individual locations, you may be here and there, but it's always some sort of racist working at Denny's for some reason. And Denny's don't get in control of that. I'm not saying they support it, but they don't get in control of that at all. And black people need to stop spending their dollars with Denny's. They're not serving anything over there that you cannot get somewhere else. The thing is, they had no respect for these sisters. And yes, I would sue their pants off. I would enjoy that lawsuit, because with 9 times out of 10, what Denny's going to do is they're going to settle, because they got you dead to rights, and they allowed you to be assaulted and nothing else happened. Too much out of it. You understand what I'm saying? No employees intervened. Nobody said anything. Oh yeah, Denny's are going to pay. Y'all get ready to enjoy those checks, and y'all get y'all a good vacation going with those checks. And when you go on vacation, I want you to take pictures and video and put at Denny's and say thank you for the vacation. Because of your racism, I'm enjoying myself right now. See, as black folk, we need to start suing these people. Don't get all bent out of shape and say, oh, no, I got me a lawsuit. I'm suing. I'm happy that you treated me ugly. I love it, because I'm about to get paid. And if we start suing these people constantly when they do this, the only time they respect something is when they lose something. I always tell you that. If black people constantly sue and constantly bring up litigation, and when they have to constantly pay money, they'll get their act together, because they don't want to keep paying money to people. That's not a good look, that you got a public record of discrimination and the court say, yes, your business is part of that. There's all kind of rabbit holes you can go down with a bunch of racial discrimination lawsuits outside of boycotting. But these are incidents that are happening in America, ladies and gentlemen. These cowardly, sorry, good for nothing, non-bathing white supremacists saw those sisters by themselves, that's why they done that. Because they're cowards. If there had been about 3 to 4 brothers sitting there, they wouldn't have said a word. Trust me, they wouldn't have said a word. Unless they had a weapon on them. Because I know the cowards that they are. But, just keep your eyes open at all times. I always tell people that. Don't be like, I can't believe this happened. Like I said, you always anticipate something like that happening. That way, you don't have to be surprised because you're always ready to deal with those particular incidents. But leave me a comment, let me know what you think about this particular story out of Lansing, Michigan. And we also want to reach out and make an appeal to our audience that, we definitely try to produce much news content as we can, podcasts, etc., much as possible. And I appreciate all the people who are supporting us on our podcast. We thank you. I think we have like 43 people supporting there now. Also, so we have people supporting here on YouTube. We are YouTube channel members, and we thank you for being a part of that. And we also have people that are supporting us on Patreon. But we need to get up our numbers a little bit more to do the content that we need to do. There's a lot of things that I'm looking at that we need to do, but it's going to cost funding to travel different places here in the United States to bring our crew, etc. And we don't get brand deals like that due to the content we produce. Most of the time when you have over 1 million subscribers, you have all kind of brand deals coming your way. Usually that happens. But with us doing news reporting and the type of news reporting that we're doing, that's not going to happen. So we definitely lean on our supporters here. And our biggest age group is 35 to 44, according to our analytics. And we're making an appeal. That's usually people who kind of set, in their careers at that point. There's not a lot of young people who are just trying to get themselves started. But we always wanted to make an appeal to try to, in the beginning, try to get at least 3,000 people who can support us on various platforms, whether you feel comfortable doing it through YouTube membership or, Patreon, which, that would be a great one. Or you would like to do it just individual donations in itself, like maybe through a PayPal, etc. But anything that you guys donate, I turn it right back around and I give it right back out to people who are doing work for us. We're building a team also as we speak in an African nation. I'll talk to you about what African nation it is right now. So we're trying to spread the content and spread the platform. And it's going to take funding to do so. The more funding that I receive, the more I will do. I promise you that. Anytime you guys donate something to us, I'll go do it, no matter what it is. And it's so much that we need to cover in so little time. And also I need help as well. So it's going to take funding for me to bring in good people to do things because I'm limited. I'm going to do so much. But with the right help from great people, we can do a whole lot. So if you can consider that, if this is your place that you get news and information that you enjoy, you say, man, I love the show. Well, help the show keep going. This is something that we just have to reach out to. NPR does this. Many other major platforms, do the same thing. If you have, some people may leave comments that are anti the platform. And, if I see that, then, we deal with those comments as we deal with them. But we have to support our own. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to. We can't expect them folks. If them folks come in and want to start supporting here, then they're going to take over. Understand that. And this is why we lose platforms. I've turned down money before for them folks. You get what I'm saying? So I need, you guys to come in and just help us, tie in the loose ends because there's so many things that we can do, to bring you the news and information. Just wanted to make that appeal to you because this platform is something I believe that can grow into something just much bigger. And I believe that is much room for many people to come in to help us make it bigger and better than anything that at least we can see out here. But thank you for taking up the time to subscribe and also made the change as you saw with rebranding and everything. And some people finally trickling back in, didn't realize we rebranded. But, we are going somewhere and we got to cover these stories that like we saw here in Lansing, Michigan, and throughout the country and also throughout the world. And, media is an expensive business. And that's why these folks try to dominate it because they got the money to do so. But with your help, we can compete in that space.